Hey everybody, so today I'm going to do a video on a juice recipe that my wife found online because we both got colds pretty bad. And although we were able to stave off most of the symptoms with some echinacea with golden seal, this cough kept lingering. But she looked this up and I kind of thought, even though I'm into natural remedies and all that, I really didn't believe that putting a couple apples and lemon and ginger and honey and stuff would really do that much for the cough. I mean, we'd been taking cough syrup and all kinds of stuff and nothing was really helping. But the first night that we did this, we drank it and we were still coughing and whatever, you know, while we were drinking it and a little while after. But within 30 minutes to an hour, my cough went away entirely for the duration of, I guess, its effectiveness. And hers changed dramatically. So actually I do believe this works because I did it and it worked. And I'm going to show you how to do it. And then at the same time I'm going to kind of talk about the NutriBullet that I use and this Omega masticating juicer that I really enjoy as well. So that if you want to do this type of thing yourself, you can learn about these products, I guess, and then do it in your own home. So I guess the first thing I'm gonna do though is I'm just gonna, well, I'll go over the ingredients. The recipe called for orange juice, but I think orange juice is a little bit acidic on the throat, so I opted for apples instead for the bulk of the juice. And I've heard that, and actually looked it up, that apples apparently are really good for the lungs as well. So, you know, I chose a sweet apple and a not so sweet apple. If you're into saving calories or reducing sugar content, then you can do it. Like green apples have less sugar content than red apples or Fuji apples or Gala apples, but really it's not that important. Do whatever kind of apples you want. And it's 1 apple per person, so I'm going to make 2 servings, so I'm using 2 apples. And then it called for like maybe half a lemon, but I went ahead, I mean, I read so much about how the lemons are so good for a cough that I figured 1 whole lemon per person would be fine. So I got 2 lemons, and then ginger. The amount of ginger that we're going to use is roughly about a thumb size, so you just kind of look at what you have, cut off a piece, and 1 thumb size per person. The video that we saw also called for turmeric or tumeric root. A lot of people say is really good for immune system building and other health benefits. You know, I don't have any scientific evidence or whatever, but you know, almost every website online says turmeric root is really good for you. And then it also called for apple cider vinegar. As far as the quantities of the turmeric, you know, like a teaspoon per serving, and maybe a teaspoon or a tablespoon per serving of the apple cider vinegar. And then as far as the honey, I think you can pretty much put as much as you want. You know, I don't think it's going to be a big deal if you put less or more. I like to put a lot because it tastes good. So that's the recipe there. I'm going to wash these ingredients real quick, and then I'm going to get to cutting them and juicing them. Now when it comes to a masticating juicer like this one, it's different from centrifugal, which you just, if you're familiar with juicers, you just take your fruit, you could cut it, like take the core out or whatever, you know, maybe de-skin it or whatever, but then you could just throw it in there and it juices it really fast. And I found that when I was doing my shopping for a juicer, that the quality of the juice from a centrifugal, I hope I'm saying that right, but a centrifugal juicer it just seems like a much lower quality because it spins really, really fast and it kind of just heats up the juice and it froths it up and it doesn't look so good at all. But with a masticating juicer, it's just turning really slowly and kind of basically crushing and chewing on the vegetables and the fruits that you're putting in there, which produces a really consistent colored juice and layered juice instead of being really frothy on the top and real liquidy at the bottom. And personally, that's what I think is better. I use this Omega juicer that I did a lot of research on, and I really believe for the money, I think it was like around $350, which is much more expensive than some of the centrifugal that you can get. So I mean, honestly, just get whatever you can buy, but if you have the money and you want to get something that's going to last a long time and be really high quality juice, then I recommend this brand, and I think it's called an Omega Vert. and they have many different kinds now. You could probably find them cheaper now for this bottle. Anyway, when it comes to using the type of juicer I have, when I put the whole lemon in with the rind, I find that it's really bitter because it's gonna squeeze all this rind bitterness out into the juice. And so what I do is de-rind it or skin the lemon before I put it in there. It's really easy. You just cut both sides like that, put it on one of the sides, and come across the side of it like this, and just cut it off and go around in a circle like that. And this will get all the bitter rind off of your lemons or limes or oranges or grapefruit or whatever it may be that you're going to be juicing. Now when it comes to the ginger, let's say I'm just going to do about this much. When it comes to juicing it, if you have a centrifugal, I think you can pretty much just throw it in there. You might want to de-skin it so it doesn't have the weird flavor. I'm not really sure about those ones, but with the masticating juicers, you definitely want to take the skin on because it'll probably be a little bit, it'll squeeze juice out of that skin somehow, and it'll put that bitter flavor into your juice. And then also you want to cut it up a little bit when you're using masticating, because ginger has a lot of thin little hairs and fibers throughout. And if you just put it in there, it'll do it, but it'll bunch up those fibers on the exhaust where all the waste or fibrous stuff of the veggies and stuff comes out, and it could block that hole a little bit. So I just chop it up once I've de-skinned it. You can use a vegetable peeler, but I can't find mine, so I'm just gonna do it like this. Now when it comes to the apples, apparently the seeds contain arsenic, which is a toxin, and you don't really want to get that into your juice. I didn't know that when I was first juicing, and I was just throwing in the whole thing. I mean, I was fine, but you want to get the core out. The easiest way I found to do it is to cut it in half and then kind of put it on its side like this, or I suppose you could do it like that, but I can see the core if I do it like this. Put my blade up next to that core and just bring it down, okay? Like that, on each side. And then just flip it over. And then there, you have the whole core right there. And you're not really missing any of the flesh of the fruit. Alright, so here's all the fruit and everything, and now I'm gonna get to juicing. Alright, so got my juicer going. You don't want to let it run dry, so I'm just going to put some fruit in there, let it kind of get going. When you're using a masticating juicer like this one, you want to alternate. I've done a lot of research on this stuff and watched other people that have years of experience using juicers like this. And you don't want to just put in all of one kind of fruit then the other or whatever. Apparently you're going to get a better yield and a better product if you kind of alternate what you're putting in there in terms of firmness. So you can put an apple, then put the lemon piece, then maybe a couple pieces of the ginger, and then the apple, and just alternate it the best you can. For some reason, that seems to yield a better result. Also, another thing to note is when you're using a masticating juicer like this, you don't want to overfill it or just cram a bunch of stuff down in there as fast as you can. You want to give it a little bit of time to do its thing, because in there is a spinning, I guess, little corkscrew type of thing, and it's got to take some time to do its thing. So if you just smash stuff down in there, it's not going to be as effective at its job. Doesn't mean you have to go really slow, but you do want to give it some time in between putting stuff in, maybe at about this rate. Also with a masticating juicer, it's going to take a little bit of time for it to get all the juice out, like I've said, so you just kind of wait until you see that it's stopped dripping all the way, and that it's not throwing out any more pulp here. see it's still coming out pretty good. You know, see how it goes, and then go ahead and turn it off when you're ready. So here you'll see there's a, if I can get it into focus. Let's see. There we go. There's a bunch of pulp, so when you're juicing, you're going to get all this stuff. You know, if you have a garden or a composting bin or area, you can throw that in there, and it's pretty good, you know, stuff for your compost. And this is what the juice looks like. This is how much juice I got from 2 apples, 2 lemons, ginger. So now I'm going to go ahead and show you the rest of the recipe. So a really good friend of ours recently purchased a NutriBullet for us for Audrey's birthday, and we've actually really loved it. I didn't really think I'd care about this thing because it's just a blender, really, like a fancy blender or something. But it is more convenient. You have these little cups, you know, that will go with it. And so you can, like I did, you can just put your, you know, juice right into the cup, and then I need to use this really effective NutriBullet blending thing to get the rest of the ingredients of this recipe in there, and then blend it up just real quick so that I can incorporate all the ingredients together. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. I'll show you how it works. You just take apple cider vinegar here, put that in there, and then you got your turmeric that I talked about, and you just want to pop that in there, and this little top thing comes out, screws onto here, and just, oh, I forgot about the honey. It's real scientific. You put like this much. Alright guys, there you have it. It looks pretty good. It's nice and frothy. And after we drink this, for some reason, I'm not really sure what it is, but the cough goes away, and everything that's in there is purported to also boost your immune system to get over that cold that you may have at the same time. So cheers, hope you enjoyed. I will never put advertisements on my videos, so if you like that, hit the thumbs up button and subscribe. Thank you.